What's up? What's up? What's up? We are live, Golden Leash Club, 7:05 a.m. So I went live at 7 a.m., but we had a mistake with everything going on. It just kind of disconnected on us. So glad that we could start the live now. Let's make sure everything is going well. Give me a second. We're streaming on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. Good to go. I'm going to make sure I can see by pulling it up on my other phone. Give me a second. Okay, cool beans. We're live. We are on the stream. We come on the stream for two things every morning from 7 to 8 a.m. is to help people feel connected and to help them feel less stressed. We help people feel connected by answering community questions or communication questions that they have. This is to help people connect with others better. You can text or call in at 512-591-6138. My do not disturb is off. I'll be here. We'll answer or we'll read the text and we'll address it on the stream here live. Text in with your name, city, and topic to join the call queue. Again, ask a community question, ask a communication question. We'd love to answer those. I'm not saying we're the best community builder or communication expert in the world, but what I am saying is I'm here to help you because I want to help you feel more connected because too many people are walking around not connected to people, going through their life. And that's just tough. Like we don't have to live that way, right? And the other thing is helping you feel less stressed. We do that with laughs here on the stream. So I react to dog poop horror stories, favorite dog stories. So heartwarming dog stories, funny dog poop horror stories. That should give you a good laugh. Eventually, once I figure out how to hook this desktop up to a monitor, which I'm going to be working on today, hopefully we'll be able to have people call in and we'll officially be doing stalks and walks, which is basically your dog does a trick. You call your shot. If it's successful, we take a trade a certain way. If it's unsuccessful, we take a trade another way. And this will only happen Monday through Friday. Saturday, Sunday streams will just be regularly scheduled programming. But yeah, I mean, basically we're tracking the performance of everybody, the whole community doing dog tricks and deciding how we take a trade to how me and Theo take trades to see which performs better over the course of a year, 5 years, however long we do this stream, however long we do stocks and walks. And we'll keep a live performance meter up as we do it. So that's what we got on the stream today. I'm just going to double check, make sure I'm still live because my computer right now sucks. We got one on Twitch watching. What's up? Leave a comment below. Let me know what's going on. We got one on YouTube, which is actually my phone over here, making sure that the feed is still live. So if you're on Twitch and you tuned into the show, let me know what's up. Let me know if you have any questions, comments. If you want to call in, feel free. If you're just here joining, thank you for joining. And we're going to jump into a community segment probably to start. Yeah, so I'm just going to give me a second. Streaming. One person on Twitch, say what's up. Let me know you're there. Let me know you're there watching. I'm gonna jump into a community segment here, and basically what that is, we have our kind of domains of community, our facets and our aspects. And maybe I'll go past the domain. I'll stay in domains. Let's see, what do I want to do? Name emotions early. Ooh, this is a good one. This is a real good one. This is a super good one. Yeah, I'm gonna jump into this one. Man, I was wild back in college, and I'm gonna tell you guys that story. Not wild in the way most people wild, but just like my my proficiency with emotional regulation was wild. I was a very insecure man, and my friends around me dealt with that for a while. I can't even remember the details of it. I just remember being absolutely nasty and livid with some of the guys that I was hanging out with because I was insecure. Let's see. Why do I always realize how I feel after I snap at someone? Okay. So that's not really the angle I want to hit it at. Yeah, I like that. Hmm. We want to name the emotion. We want to share the emotion. And what else do we want to do with the emotion after we've named it and shared it? Act despite it is really the third thing I would add. And the key is to ask for help. Okay. So we're going to jump into this community segment here in a second. And first, I'm going to check chat, make sure nobody's asked any questions. Any dog poop horror stories, let me know. We got one person on Twitch, one person on YouTube. We are going to go ahead and jump into this community segment. If you guys have any comments, you can call or text in to 512-591-6138. You can leave a comment in the stream, and we will address it as soon as we can. Sometimes I'm a little slow seeing comments, but I got both chats up, so I should get them. So basically, guys, today I want to talk about a question that might be in some people's heads. A lot of people struggle with emotional regulation. They feel emotions very intensely, then they act on those emotions, and then they just experience the consequences of acting on emotions, if you will. And a question that was in my head when I was doing that, and might be in some of your heads, is why do I always realize how I feel after I snap at someone? Like, why can't I breathe in the moment, recognize the emotion, and kind of act despite it? Really, like, what is stopping me from doing that? And obviously it's practice, it's skills, it's awareness, it's many things, but basically what it comes down to is you can't manage. Whoops, messed up the mic here. I'm gonna try that again. You can't manage what you don't admit. Let me tell you what I mean by that. When you're struggling to feel an emotion and act despite it, the first thing you need to do is name the emotion. When you name the emotion, it's like, I feel angry. Then you share that emotion. I feel angry with you. And this action you did it's made me feel this way. And then you ask for help acting despite the emotion. So kind of go in your neutral monotone tone and say, hey, I feel angry. I feel angry with you because of something that you did that made me feel this way, in the least accusatory realm possible, like a bunch of prefaces, etc. Think of the other person when you're communicating that, but you name it, you share it, and you're like, I don't want to feel angry at you. I want our relationship to be like this. Can you help me? As long as that's appropriate. In some instances, it's not appropriate, but in other instances, it's like, hey, y'all are on good terms. It makes sense to ask for their help because of something in the environment, something about their behavior, or something about your behavior, or your relationship with them. And so that's kind of what I wanted to get at when I say you can't manage what you won't admit. A lot of times, people place blame on unclear things. So you might be feeling some sort of way and you can't quite put your finger on why. And you never take the time to sit down, reflect, and actually find the pain point in your life that's making you struggle. And when you don't do that, what you end up doing is just acting until the emotion fizzles out. And if you have constant triggers in your environment, which a lot of us do because we never take the time to learn how to regulate our emotion and act despite our emotion, that emotion may not ever fizzle out because it is constantly getting reactivated. 1 second. So a lot of times you might realize how you feel after you snap at someone because you don't know how to pause in the moment. That's because you never practiced naming, sharing, and asking for help. Because emotions can be overwhelming. Like your physical chemistry changes. Like if you get angry enough, you will start sweating. You get hot. Like you might start shaking. People say you see red for a reason. Like your vision is influenced. What you hear is influenced. What you feel is influenced. How your body feels. Stress causes pain if you bear the burden of the stress for long enough. And so this is not me discounting your emotions. This is me saying it's possible for you to act despite them. And let me tell you why I came up with this point. When I'm thinking about community, I'm thinking about transparency. That's one of the core pillars of community. If you're not transparent, it's very hard to build relationships with people. And when you're with people, it's messy. I will say that over and over and over and over again. When you're with people, it's messy. And so when the mess starts to happen, when the proverbial mess hits the fan, if you know what I'm saying, what do? And always, I'm trying to be transparent. Now, sometimes you can be transparent to a fault. Not everything is for everybody. But in the instance that it impacts our relationship and it's not something I just need to go deal with on my own and I can't get over it and I'm treating you worse and yada, 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 which I want to say only happens when you're younger. But man, some adults never get to this point. Some adults with kids never get to this point. We're all human, right? And say we did get to that point with the small stuff, maybe a big thing happens. How do you get to that point then? Anyway, so the reason I kind of came up with these three, name the emotion, share the emotion, and ask for help, is because of the transparency that you need in a community. 1 second. Oh, I thought I got a text in, but it is the Bible. And it's 1 Corinthians 13:4. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant. Shout out the Bible for calling into the stream. We got, let's see. We got, 1 second. We got one on Twitch, one on YouTube, and 3 right next to me. If you know what I mean. If you know, you know. That's the Trinity. So now if you don't know, you now know it's the Trinity. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So, where was I? We're trying to name the emotion, share the emotion, and ask for help acting despite the emotion. And we do that for the sake of transparency. And we prioritize transparency for the sake of building a stronger relationship, stronger trust, and not letting problems simmer. So let me tell you a quick story. When I was in college, I was super insecure. I just started dating this amazing girl. Her name was Gracie Petty. She's not my wife. Shout out Gracie. Man, maybe I shouldn't have said her whole name on stream like that. But whatever. She now has a different name. And it's not that hard to find it out. So, started dating Gracie. And the beginning of our relationship was rocky. You know, I was not who I needed to be, still not who I need to be. She was not who she needed to be, and she's still not who she needs to be, but we've had 6 years of growth together, so we figured out our relationship a little bit, but back then we had 3 to 6 to 12 months of growth, and that growth was in college, and it was around COVID. This is probably before COVID, though, when I went off like this, but yeah, it was just, I don't know what happened, but we were all a tight-knit group. We were, the Young Life community, yada, yada. And I can't quite remember what happened. But I think, so long story short, I'm just going to put some pieces together about why I was insecure, right? When I was in high school, I cheated on my girlfriend, treated her horribly, unacceptable, inexcusable. But I was a kid, and I was struggling with my own stuff. I didn't know how to name the emotion, share the emotion, and ask for help acting despite the emotion because I was so afraid of how people would judge me, right? So if I named it and shared it, that transparency might have negative consequences for me, so I wouldn't do it. And that need to people please led to me bearing burdens alone that I needed other people's help with. And because I never got that help, it had adverse effects. Like I would cheat on my girlfriend. I would have suicidal ideation. I would like many things because I couldn't deal, right? Some people can in that situation. I couldn't. So I was struggling. And what was tough about it, I'm blanking on where I was. This was me mapping insecurity. When you are a certain way, you think everybody is that way, especially when you're young and you haven't lived life and realize that no, people are different and you do not know what people have been through. But I wasn't there yet. So because I had that insecurity, because I was so lustful, because I was this, that, and the other, I just assumed all guys are that way. And to an extent, they are. But to another extent, they aren't, right? And specifically when they're friends and they're hanging out with your girlfriend and you trust all these people, that's not necessarily the case. But there was that in the back of my head, some insecurity where I think... So it was early on in dating. We were like maybe hanging out in a group and Gracie was my girlfriend. And I think like some of the other guys spent more time with her in the group than I did. And this was a whole dynamic when me and Gracie first started dating. Whereas like I'm a quality time guy. She's not a quality time girl. She's words of affirmation, acts of service. And she didn't want our dating relationship to change how we were in the community. And I was like, I don't give a rip. Like, I'm trying to date, like I'm trying to spend time with you. So that was just super tough. And it led to a lot of insecurity for me. So when I saw Gracie hanging out with other guys in the group more than she hung out with me in the group, it made me feel super insecure. I was like, does she even like me? Like, is she trying to? And it was pretty rocky. Like, we had different preferences. Those preferences clashed. And we always came back to the conversation of like, we can choose each other over this conflict right now. But that was like the first 12 months of our relationship, which means there was always conflict. It was always easier to just break up. Like she thought about it. I thought about it. Yeah, it was just tough in the beginning. But I talk about transparency. I talk about community in this story because you guys now have the backdrop of my insecurity. Like I was a people pleaser. That led to me cheating in high school, being very lustful, having suicidal ideation. So my mental wasn't right. I assumed everybody else's mental wasn't right because of that. And so anytime I saw a guy hanging out with a girl, I projected what I would do or what I think that I would do in that situation to what they could be doing. And so I actually avoided hanging out with girls or doing this and that and the other because I felt a certain type of way about me. I was like, now it's just kind of good, healthy boundaries. And when you're adults, your worlds don't intertwine as much. You don't have as many opportunities, if you will, without like intentionally creating them. And when you intentionally create them, it's pretty weird because then it's like there was intent there. But when you were a kid, you could kind of slide by, but I just never trusted myself in kind of solo opportunities after, doing something I thought I would never do, which was cheat on my girlfriend, and then got to college and I'm in this Christian community now, and vibes can be weird in Christian community between girls and guys, and I felt the pressure of that, and it was different from what I grew up with, yada yada. So I had a bunch of insecurity. All that to say, wrapping that piece up, you have the backdrop of my insecurity, you have the conflict of our early relationship escalating that insecurity in the moment because I hadn't dealt with it and didn't know how to deal with it, didn't know how to name it and share it with Gracie. Learned over time, and that's why we're still together, but didn't know how to back then. Then you have my guy friends and my girlfriend hanging out because we're all friends. Like they did nothing out of the norm. It was just now I was dating this girl and I was insecure. And so that happened. I went to them. I named the emotion. I shared the emotion, but I did not do it in a good way. Like I was super angry with a couple of guys that I really trust and had no reason to be angry with. And this like the hard part of community. Like I was about this. Like we spent 30 to 50 hours a week together, easy. And so I named the emotion. I was like, "Hey guys, I am angry with you. Like my body is like, I'm pissed right now, and I'm pissed with you guys because of this." And it's like I literally said, maybe it's my insecurity, maybe it's not, but I feel like the amount of time you were spending with Gracie was inappropriate. I don't like it. And it kind of killed the vibe of a hangout that we were going to do that evening. But I named it. I shared it. The one thing I didn't do was I did a little bit of it. I said, maybe this is my insecurity. Maybe it's not. But I didn't really think it was. And I didn't care if it was. Because I was just kind of spitting anger, if you will. After you name it and you share it, I think there should be some humility in asking for help acting despite it. Be like, hey, I trust you guys. I love you guys. I know what this community is about. But I'm really struggling right now. Like, I need y'all's help. Like, can you pray for me? Can you help me think through this? Can you like reassure me in this moment? Can we change our behavior? Like, get to what you want the relationship to look like and what actions would get it there, and then act on those actions despite the emotion with the support of the community. And there's probably going to have to be a lot of work that you do on your own, but ultimately, it can be tough and we need help. And so that's the one thing I didn't do in that moment. Like I named it, I shared it, but I did it in a very rude way. And that's what I mean when I say I was wild and in college. I would let my emotions just hurt people basically, because I couldn't filter them, I couldn't cope, I just didn't have perspective, because nothing's really changed in how I cope, but now I just have such a better perspective. I can let emotion hurt, or I can choose the other person despite the emotion. I just have more regulation now. So that came with perspective for me. But yeah, that's when I would ask that question, why do I always realize how I feel after I snap at someone as opposed to in the moment? It was because of this. I couldn't name it. I couldn't share it. I couldn't ask for help to act despite it. And I lacked perspective. So we'll add that there. And hopefully that's a clip for social media. But yeah, just checking chat real quick, checking my phone, making sure I didn't miss any vibrates. Nobody's called in, nobody's texted in, nobody in the chat yet. This is a lonely Saturday morning here on the Golden Leash Club stream. Let's see who we got. We still got one on Twitch and one on YouTube. So really we have one on Twitch. If you're on Twitch and you're active, say what's up. Leave a comment. Let me know you're here. Would love to go back and forth. If you have any questions about the story I just told, let me know. But, you know, community gets messy. People get messy. Transparency is key for both of those things. And, yeah, it's something I experienced live in college. It can be tough. It can be tough. But now we're going to go ahead and try to read a dog parent. You know what is really irking me, guys? I ain't going to lie. I recorded yesterday's stream, and yesterday Jessica talked a ton in the chat on the stream, and let me see. Yeah, yesterday Jessica talked a ton in the chat on the stream, and I don't think it got recorded vertically, which is annoying because that means I can't clip it and put it on social media. So give me a second. I'm going to try and check if it got recorded vertically on YouTube, because I was supposed to be going live there as well. If it didn't, I'm going to be like slightly upset, you know. I'll get over it. I'm not going to spew the upsetness on the stream, but it's a little sad. It's a little sad. Okay, let's see. Checking out the content, checking out the live. Yeah, see, even right now, the vertical stream yesterday didn't get saved. And we still have the big stream, so we can kind of clip that, which is fine, but we need that vertical stream to be going. That is a little frustrating. Man, I mean, I get we're gonna have more streams later, but it is just irritating. It was a good stream we had. I'm trying to think, did I just not hit the record button? Because every other stream has been recorded. Anyway, I am vexed, if you will. But we're going to keep going on the stream. We have one person on Facebook. What's up? Leave a comment. Let me know you're here. One person on Twitch and one person on YouTube, which that is me on my phone to make sure everything's still going smooth. But we like to talk to you guys, just update what we're here on the stream for. We want to help people feel connected by answering their questions about community and communication. Jessica, what's up? So I was just saying, we have the stream recorded from yesterday, but I don't have the vertical profile. So it's going to be hard to clip them for social media, but we have it recorded on YouTube. It was just a frustrating moment. Glad you're joining us bright and early on a Saturday morning. I'm afraid that most people might not be up 7 a.m. on Saturday, but I like to keep the 7 to 8 a.m. consistent. So what's up? We got one person on Twitch. If you want to leave something in the chat, let me know. If you guys have any questions or comments or want to talk about anything, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just keep going through my segments and my dog poop horror stories, which I'm going to try and find one for us right now on Reddit. Let's see. Look at that. I can't even 7 a.m. got me yawning too. Okay, 1 second. Here we go. So 7 days ago, I asked Reddit, what's your funniest? Yeah. Aaron's will do it. You know what's funny? Right after this, I will be washing the dishes. I will be cleaning the shower. So washing the dishes, cleaning the shower, and I need to hook up my desktop to a monitor to test that out. And then I need to record some other content just to kind of get the stream out there, get the poop scooping business out there, and get the dog parent community out there. So I have some home errands. I won't be out the house running errands, but yeah, Saturday morning full of stuff that I need to be doing. So, you know, that is what that is. Let's see if we have any good content on Reddit. Yeah, so 7 days ago, I asked this Reddit. I'll probably put it in there again to see if I can get some more dog stories to share on the stream. But here's a few. Oh, buddy. All right, so we're going to read this. Let's see. This is MoJoJoJo3030. MoJoJoJo3030 on Reddit 7 days ago. I take my 6-month pity mix out to potty, and he assumes I like that sentence and how it went. My 6-month pity mix out to potty. And he assumes the Volkswagen bug posture. I don't know what that posture is. If you know what that posture looks like, leave it in the chat. But it's the Volkswagen bug posture. Suddenly, a violent shade of green blooms out the back of him. I stare in shock as his balloon knot slowly reveals the body of an empty poop bag. One that I never saw him eat or had any idea he had eaten. Thank God, because that would have been a costly vet trip for apparently no reason. Then I shift back to horror as I realize that he can't complete the evacuation. What is going on here? I'm betting there are more poop bags in there. What do you guys think? Let me know. Here we go. So then I shift back to horror as I realize that he can't complete the evacuation. I deeply, deeply do not want to roll up my sleeves and help. What followed was a Super Bowl-like cheering session as my neighbors trundled past the apartment stairs to work. In the end, he was successful. And this is a big word. I'm a smart dude, but this is a big word. But remunerated? I think that's how you say it. Remunerated with treats. Man, is that how you use that word? Remunerated. Let me see. Yeah, paid and treats, remunerated. I feel like I'm not. What's the pronunciation of that? I'm on with ChatGPT right now, asking that. By the way, Remunerated. Yeah, I mean, remunerated. Remunerated with treats, but I have not left his leash / poop bag dispenser on or in his car hammock since. Probably a good idea, Mojo Jojo 3030. Thanks for sharing on Reddit. You are featured on the stream. You just got an upvote, and yeah, that's a good one. 6 month. So when the dogs are young, the crazy stuff be happening. But I'm glad you avoided a costly vet trip. Let's see if we can read one more. This is Bessa 100. 7 days ago on our Reddit post as well. My partner and I were out running dog errands and decided to bring the dog. We passed by an outdoor flea market that was closing soon and decided to take a quick look around, even though it specifically said no dogs. Partner went to the men's room and left me on the main gravel road with the dog. Of course, the dog pooped and I was stuck standing there with his shame, waiting for my partner to come back so I could clean it up. The dog looked at me as if to say, they said no dogs for this specific reason, silly. So funny, slightly embarrassing story there for Bessa 100. Yeah, when your dog poops where it explicitly says no dogs and you're reminded of that, that can just be tough. Like, that's a little tough. But yeah, those are two dog stories. We like to share those to start the day fresh, get a couple good laughs, remind you of how annoying dog poop is, so you get us to come clean it up for you for free. First one's always free in the Austin area. And with that, we're going to jump into a communication segment, but let me see. Let me see which one I want to talk about. I kind of decide on the fly with you guys here. Like, you are in the middle of it. Let's see. Yeah. I don't know about this one. I'll do that one for now. What if they don't remember me? How do I keep conversation fresh? Yeah, I like this. This is actually super helpful and pretty tactical, I would say, in terms of communication. And again, I'm not perfect at communication, but it's some stuff that I like to talk about because I think it helps you guys. Oh, Jessica has another horror story. Give us one second. I'll jump into the communication segment after I read this horror story from Jessica. But we like to be tactical with that because it... One second. I think it might help you guys with building relationships in community and then communication in general. So, Jessica, 737, she says, I'll say that another horror story is just pet parents who don't pick up after their pets. I feel that. At college apartments and even at my grown-up apartment, people just let their pets do it. And then when I walk through the grass or I have a small dog park right in front of my apartment and I want to chill in the area, but people don't clean up. So I can't do anything in that space. I get it's a dog park, but clean up after your pets. Jessica, I completely agree. And I have obviously firsthand experienced people not cleaning up after their pets. And when I'm cleaning up their backyard, that's fine. Some people let their dogs do it in their front yard, and then I have to clean up their front yard, and that's fine too. But when it's not on your personal property and you're out at a dog park at Zilker, there's plenty of times where I'm walking around my apartment and you have to kind of dodge dog poop. It's never on the sidewalk and the cement and the concrete, but sometimes it is on the it's in the grass, like it's in the gravel, it's in the rocks, it's in this, that, and the other. And of course, we do poop scooping for apartments. We do poop scooping for HOAs and public spaces too, and dog parks if need be. But yeah, if you don't have a hired poop scooper, or even if you do have a poop scooper come once a week, there's still poop sitting there for 3, 4, 5, 6 days. That can just be super annoying when you're trying to enjoy the common space. And that's the part that irks me a little bit. Like, it's irking you, like it's common space. So treat it properly, leave it better than you found it because other people use it. But I don't think everybody thinks like that. And it's super easy to be like, oh yeah, in a couple hours it'll get hard, or in a day it'll get hard, and you could step on it and it doesn't really matter. But it's like, no, some people just don't want to step on dog poop. And I don't think everybody understands that. Or we can also give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that they were in a rush and that they couldn't clean up their dog poop because their wife was giving birth at that second and they just had to run. But that's the mental trick I use when I'm in traffic and somebody cuts me off. I'm like, they're going to see their child because their child is being delivered right now. And even though they're probably not doing that and they might just be selfish, it helps me forgive them in my head. Because it's like, what if they are? What if their house is on fire? What if their kids just died? I don't know. I'd want to get out of their way if that were the case. I'd want to go help them if that were the case. So maybe we can give the people who leave dog poop in the parks the benefit of the doubt and be like, they had to run off to something in a hurry and just forgot that dog poop in a frenzy. And that just happens every day. Not convinced, but if it helps you be a little less irritated, yes, got to give him God's grace because God gives it to us and we don't deserve it. That is the perfect answer. I try to use that mental frame for people who don't have that backdrop, but when you have that backdrop, it makes it a lot easier because nobody really deserves that grace, but you got it. God gives it to other people, so we can try to give it to other people too. Love that. All right, let's see. Where was I? I think we were talking about a communication segment that I was about to work on. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. So when we're in community, we're in communication. There are a couple phases that I like to talk about in community. You have small talk, you have consistent activity, you have vulnerability, and then you have more consistent activity into time on mission, time and money on mission, and interdependence towards mission. So those are the 7 stages that we kind of talk about. If you guys have any questions about that, let me know. But as part of that, like when you're at consistent activity and you're trying to get to vulnerability, I think this is super important. And the question I'm often asked when I tell people that this is important is, how do I know that what someone cares about? And so the important piece is engaging people in what they like to talk about, because that is how you be a great conversationalist. You talk to the person about something that lights them up and you really let them do the talking. Like, to be the best, to give somebody the best experience ever, you ask them questions about what they love, actively listen to them talk, and then they'll be super happy. You like literally just let them talk and you relate on the things you can, and then re-engage them in the future. So those are the 4 steps I'm going to talk about. And I'm going to talk about how I do it a little bit, because it always gets me through a first interaction or a second interaction with people flawlessly. But before I do that, I'm going to check the chat again, see if I'm missing anything. Nope, not missing anything. I think we had a few more people join us. Had some people on Facebook, had some people on Twitch. They might have jumped out real quick. But if you guys want to call in or text in with 512-591-6138, a community question, a communication question, dog poop horror story, favorite dog story, let us know. We'll address it right here live on the stream. You can hop on a call. You can text. Whatever works. Just let me know. So you need to ask people what they care about. The question is, how do I know what someone cares about? And my answer is that passion is the path to connection. So to figure out their passion, you need to do 4 things. And the first thing is ask great questions. This is really going to help you figure out their passion. And some of the things I like to go to are, If there was one thing in the world that you could do and you knew you wouldn't fail, what would it be? And if you had all the money, all the time in the world, and nobody's expectations on your shoulders, how would you spend your time? Those two questions will get at one big thing that they want to accomplish and how they would spend the day to day. And then you can press them. So actively listen to their answers and be like, yep. Okay, so you would spend all your time traveling the world. I was like, yeah, I'd spend all my time traveling the world. The first place I'd go is Japan, this, that, and the other. I was like, oh, you'd go to Japan. They're like, yeah, because Japan has this, that, and the other. So you mirror the last couple words of what they said, the last couple meaningful words to get more information out of them, because they'll start talking more and more about their passions. And then the things that they focus on from you naturally mirroring them are the things you need to hone in on. And then after you're getting sufficient detail by asking the great questions and mirroring them, relate on the things that you can. It's like, I've always wanted to go to Japan too, because this, that, and the other. Have you ever thought about that? And you can ask another question after you relate to throw the ball back in their court, but also build some camaraderie around them, right? And this is the most important part. Re-engage with them in the future. So when you're trying to connect with people, you ask people about what they want. You ask great questions, you actively listen, you relate on things you can, but at the second visit, the third visit, the fourth visit, bring up what they wanted to talk about again. Like re-engage the details of their passions. And oh my gosh, you'll be like best friends with people. It's pretty epic. And really, that sounded really tactical, but all that is showing that you care. I think that's a really cool thing. Like, you care about the person. And because you care about the person, you care about what the person cares about. And I feel like that is underestimated in relationships, mostly because we spend a lot of time, I don't know, not doing that. We spend a lot of time thinking about ourselves. And, even with dog parent communities that I'm trying to build and stuff, I've made it pretty easy to ask people about their dog, but I don't think people ever talk about anything past their dogs, because that's the one thing they have in common. It's like, we're not focused on what we have in common. We're focused on what you care about, because I care about you. And I feel like when community can get to that point, that consistent activity can turn into vulnerability. Until then, though, until you start caring about the other person, they'll never feel safe enough to be vulnerable with you. And so it's just important to connect, if you will. So anyway, we jumped through our community segment. Why do I always realize how I feel after I snap at someone? We jumped through our communication segment of like, how do I know what someone cares about? It's like you ask them great questions and tap into that passion. I think a cool story from this, it's not a personal story, but it's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Great book, by the way. But in that story, there was some good conversationalist that was using this tactic, and he talked with a gardener for an hour or an hour and a half about gardening. Knew absolutely nothing about gardening, didn't care about gardening. At the end of it, the gardener was like, or the person with him, I'm kind of misremembering the story, so go read the book. But somebody asked the question of like, why did you talk to that dude for an hour and a half about gardening when you don't care about gardening? He's like, because it's not what I care about. That's important. Like, he had that passion. He wanted to discuss that, and he had a great time. And he wouldn't have had a great time or as good a time if I didn't take the time to ask him what he cared about. So most people like to talk about themselves just in general. And this is super cool. I actually used this. I don't know if you guys know this. This isn't my first time on camera. That was the anyway, I think those memes are so funny, even though that one's probably a few years old. This isn't my first time on camera. I had a podcast for a while. It was a daily podcast, and it was talking to people about their dreams and goals. It went from living the dream to the new 1% to, we had a couple of rebrands in there. I went from interviewing people to just solo podcasts to, just posting content, trying to help people just like I am now, but it was in a less focused way. And so I brought people onto that show with the premise, the thesis that people love to talk about themselves. And I was just going to talk to them about their dreams and goals and then help them, take the next action towards their dreams and goals. That was my whole goal of the show. It's like, Build a community of people that want to be go-givers, so they want to help people, and then also help that person in the moment. Help them in the moment, and then give them to a community that wants to help them later. That was the whole goal of the show. Didn't work out because it was too many people had too many different dreams and goals, so there wasn't actually a community that came back, got value from that person's experience, and wanted to help them. And so that's why I'm a little bit more focused now. It's like dog parents, we're talking about community for dog parents, we're talking about dog poop horror stories, and then a lot of our stuff can go to community in general. Jessica says, you never know what people are going through, but having a human moment and just caring about someone enough to talk to them can make all the difference. They say to be seen is to be loved. I like that. Thanks for sharing that, Jessica. I completely agree. And those human moments, they can be really small to you and really meaningful to another person. Like, you don't have to always sit with somebody and listen to them talk for an hour and a half. But what you can do is, man, just like smile at them, open the door for them, ask them about their life for 2 minutes. Like, if you ask if they're okay and they say no, like, take a moment to figure out why. Like, try to see them. And seeing people, it's different for each person. Like, each person needs to be seen in a different way. So some people might just need you to spend a lot of time with them. Like, I'm more of a quality time guy. I don't, contrary to popular belief, because I spend an hour every morning talking on this stream, I don't like talk a ton. That's not how I connect with people as much as spending a lot of time with them. And that the last stages of community I built for like how I connect with people. It's like time on goal, time and money towards the goal, interdependence towards the goal. Like, when we're going towards something, growing together, that's super helpful for me. That's when I feel like I'm most connected to you, because I feel like I'm most vulnerable. I'm trusting you with a lot of things I care about in my present and in my future by sharing my life with you in this way. So that's how you would see me. Some people might really need you to notice the specific details that they are doing with certain things that they feel are important to them. And then you need to affirm those details, affirm that effort, but the specific things. Some people might need you to know exactly what gift they need at a specific moment. Or some people might need you to understand the burden that they have with all these things on their to-do list, and they want you to take one thing off of it without them having to ask for it. And basically, I'm going through the love languages. Is it the love languages? I don't know, but it's acts of service, quality time, physical touch, gifts, and words of affirmation. You know, everybody needs something different. And then when you figure out what they need, they probably need it in a specific way, you know, based on who they are as a person and their experiences. And so if you can take the 5 to 30 minutes that it takes to try to understand somebody, to understand how you can have that moment with them and how you can see them, it'll go so far. It'll go so far. Let me tell you guys a crazy story in terms of community. This is when I was peak community. We were like doing Young Life. But this wasn't actually my OG Young Life community. I actually went on summer staff after my freshman year of college. I was cooking in a kitchen for like 4 weeks up in British Columbia, Canada. And I mean, I was cooking 9-10 hours a day. And most of that would be like cutting fruit, prepping fruit, like for hours. It was crazy. But I loved spending time with the people that I was spending time with and like doing the thing, because we were working towards a mission together. Like, these kids were coming to Young Life Camp to learn about who Jesus was. And so one time after my kitchen time, I'm like hitting the gym, I'm eating, and I'm like just resting, about to go spend time with Jesus. I'm going to spend time with Jesus, which I really need that day because I was tired. And the Holy Spirit kind of spoke to me in that moment, gave me eyes for somebody who was not literal words, but he gave me eyes for somebody that was sitting alone. And I just felt like I needed to talk to that kid. I just felt like I needed to talk to him. And so this was really cool. I was waiting, and I was trying not to talk to him because I just wanted to spend time with God. I didn't want to go talk to that kid. And I was like, no, I'm just going to sit here and do my Devo time. I'll go talk to him after. All right, I'm going to do my Devo time. Somebody else will get him. Like, we have all Young Life leaders here who are trained to see people who are alone and like re-engage them. His Young Life leader will get him. But God was like, no, go talk to this kid. I was like, okay, fine. I'll go talk to him. So I close my Bible. Instead of sitting on the rock looking at the beautiful scenery and reading the Bible, I go talk to this kid who I don't know, who I felt like I just need to talk to. And I'm just asking him questions like, how's it been for you? What's going on? Yada, yada. Like, can I pray for you? And basically he said, I don't even remember the details of what he said. Maybe it was that he was having a tough time. And then I asked if I could pray for him. So I prayed for him. He was like, I was telling God right before this, I prayed that if somebody random that I didn't know came up to me, like engaged me in conversation and prayed for me, that I would give my life to God. Like, I kid you not, it was wild to me. It was crazy, but it happens, you know? And, yeah, he went and gave his life to God, and he was like, God sent you, is basically what he told me, like, for this purpose, because I said I would do that. And I was like, man. So you never know what's going on, like what God is doing behind the scenes, but also what people are going through. Because later, that same dude, like, we exchanged numbers, and he called me months later, because he remembered that moment, and he told me he was struggling with something. And I prayed for him again, and then he gave a visual of like 3 beings like melting rock from his heart. And I asked him if he knew about the Trinity, and he said no. And it was just a profound moment. Like, those 2 moments of praying for him and then months later being called by him with like stuff is going on and he wants me to pray for him again. I don't know. It was a cool thing. I'm gonna text him, see what he's up to, because it was tough for him at times. Jessica left another comment. Let's see what we got. There was a video I just saw last night, and it was a pizza delivery driver who was apologizing to a family at their house that she had delivered pizza to because she had mixed up their orders, and she basically said that she was getting older and she was so sorry for the mix-up, and she was gonna go pick up the right pizza and redeliver it. The house that she dropped... Oh, this isn't letting me scroll. One second. Here we go. The house that she dropped the food off at was actually a pastor's house, and it was so beautiful. The pastor told her don't worry about it and said, don't for 1 second worry or be upset about the fact that you delivered the wrong pizza. Actually, how are you doing? Can we pray for you? Do you know the love of Jesus? I think this is how the world needs to be. 1, it spreads the gospel, and you just really don't know what people are going through. And she really needed it at the moment to be prayed for. And you feel loved and to not feel ridiculed. It was a blessing to her. No, I completely agree. That's how the world needs to be. Like, this is a perfect example, actually, of somebody, like, it was an inconvenience, a small one, albeit, but an inconvenience for that pastor to get the wrong pizza. And he said, let me put aside how I personally feel and think about the person in front of me. And he was able to do that, probably because of God in him, honestly, and some self-control that was the fruit of the Spirit, right? And so he was able to use that self-control to put aside how he felt and look at the person in front of him. And, you know, it was a small thing. It was a pizza not being delivered, right? But some people, when you're having a bad day, the wrong pizza being delivered might set you off. So the small things can add up. And it's still a cool thing that he was able to put consideration of himself aside to consider the human being in front of him, because he saw that she was struggling, that she might need something, and that the love of Jesus might be that thing. So I think that's a super cool thing. Super cool story. Thanks for sharing that. And yeah, I guess the theme of this stream, if you will, is take a moment to have a moment with people. Like, never rush through your life in such a way that you can't stop for the people around you. Be present with them, give them the moment, give them the attention, give them the love that they might need. And I think that's a cool thing about community. When you start to really try to live close to each other, not only are the people that need a moment with you the strangers in your community, but it starts to be the strangers in your neighborhood, but it starts to be your actual community, people you're living life with. And the more you can give those moments to each other, I think the stronger those relationships can be and the stronger your community can be. But it is 8 a.m., guys. That is all we got for the stream today. I will see you guys tomorrow, 7 a.m. I'll be here. Hopefully we'll get the vertical stream recorded going forward. Jessica, thanks for chatting. Thanks for joining. Hope you can join tomorrow. We saw a few other people join via Twitch, via Facebook. We're here every morning, 7 a.m. Again, if you guys want to call in or text in ever at 512-591-6138, you can text me your name, city, and your topic, and you can join the call queue. The topics could be community question, communication question, dog poop horror story, favorite dog story, or you can just put it in the chat. I'll read it out, engage live with you here. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining me. It makes my Saturday morning streams way less lonely, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.